Welcome to Pro-Life News Daily, a conversation about all of today's breaking pro-life news. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Now let's talk.
The U.S. Postal Service investigates everything from dangerous materials to drug trafficking. But there's one federal law they seem hesitant to touch, a 19th century statute that's suddenly relevant in our modern world.
That's fascinating. You're talking about the Comstock Act, right? The law that specifically prohibits mailing certain items through the postal system?
Exactly. And here's what makes this so interesting. The USPS proudly enforces over 200 federal statutes and has this incredibly sophisticated system for preventing illegal drugs from flowing through the mail. We're talking drug sniffing dogs, special investigators, the works.
Well, that raises an important question. Why would they actively enforce some laws but seem to take a hands-off approach with this particular statute?
You know, it's like finding an old key in your grandmother's attic that suddenly fits a very modern lock. The Comstock Act was essentially dormant during the Roe era, but now it's creating this fascinating legal puzzle.
So what exactly does the law prohibit? I mean, we're talking about something written in the 1800s trying to regulate modern mail services.
The language is surprisingly straightforward. It prohibits mailing any article, instrument, substance, drug, medicine, or thing that may be used for producing abortion. But here's where it gets really interesting. The law doesn't just apply to USPS, it covers all common carriers.
That would theoretically include private shipping companies too, wouldn't it? Like FedEx and UPS?
Precisely. And what's particularly fascinating is how technology has complicated this whole situation. We're not just talking about physical mail anymore. We're dealing with online ordering systems, telehealth prescriptions, and digital networks that span across state lines and international borders.
And I imagine that's creating some real enforcement challenges. How do you monitor something that's become so decentralized?
That's where this story takes an unexpected turn. These underground networks have developed using everything from vacant houses to ping pong tables in basements as distribution points. It's like something out of a crime thriller, except it's happening right now in suburban neighborhoods across America.
The creativity of these networks is remarkable. They're using technology in ways the original lawmakers could never have imagined.
And here's what's really wild. There was this case in Mississippi where abortion pills were actually detected in the mail. But get this, they were only found because a drug-sniffing dog picked up traces of other substances on the package. It wasn't even what they were looking for.
That's incredible. So it was basically discovered by accident? What happened after that?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Despite finding these prohibited items, there weren't any arrests made. It's this perfect example of how complicated enforcement has become. The tools exist to detect these shipments, but there seems to be this reluctance to actually pursue cases.
I'm curious about the political dynamics at play here. How does the USPS leadership factor into all this?
That's a crucial point. The USPS is supposed to be governed by a bipartisan board, but there are serious questions about whether it's truly balanced. The current Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, has said they'll follow the law, so that raises the question of which interpretation of the law they're following.
And now we're seeing states getting involved, trying to force the issue through the courts, right?
Exactly. 3 states have filed suit asking for enforcement of the Comstock Act. It's creating this fascinating tension between state and federal authority. And meanwhile, you have these networks becoming increasingly sophisticated in their operations.
What's particularly striking to me is how open some of these operations are. They're not exactly hiding in the shadows.
That's one of the most surprising aspects of this whole situation. These networks are being covered by major news outlets, organizing through social media platforms and operating in plain sight. It's this strange semi-open secret that everyone knows about, but no one seems able or willing to address.
Looking ahead, what do you think this means for the future of mail regulation and enforcement?
That's the million-dollar question. We're watching this fascinating collision between 19th century law, 21st century technology, and rapidly evolving social dynamics. The Postal Service is caught in the middle, trying to balance multiple competing priorities while maintaining its core mission of reliable mail delivery.
And all of this is happening while they're dealing with other major challenges: budget issues, staffing shortages, modernization needs.
Exactly. And here's what I think is the most crucial point. This isn't just about mail anymore. It's about how we as a society handle these complex intersections of law, technology, and changing social norms. The Postal Service has become this unexpected battleground for much larger issues.
That really puts things in perspective. What started as a simple question about mail enforcement has opened up this whole conversation about federal authority, state rights, and technological adaptation.
And that's really the heart of this story. Whether you're looking at it from a legal, technological, or social perspective, it's a perfect example of how our modern world often outpaces our ability to regulate it. The question isn't just about what can be mailed anymore. It's about how we adapt our institutions.
Thank you for joining our conversation at ProLife News Daily. If you enjoyed today's show, please remember to like, follow, and subscribe. May God bless you and make abortion unthinkable.